Okay, so next up, we're going to be creating a promo post for Katie Wyatt. So I know that you're all fans of Facebook groups, and most Facebook groups will have a promo day. So the best way to introduce your brand to someone is through these Facebook group promo days. And then if you have a really on brand promo, then when they click over to your website, then they're not bombarded with something that looks totally different. And it's basically just another way to reinforce your brand in a very subtle way. So just before I jump in, a couple of things I see that people do is they might just add, have a picture. It doesn't have to be a professional picture, by the way. It can just be a fun picture of you at your desk, but then just slapping on like a big circle or having a big rectangle and then the text goes off. So these are I'm just going to be running you through some tips on making sure that that you can still present a professional image, but in a very easy way. Okay, so let's jump in and make this. So again, from the first one, we already have our colors, added into our color palette. So these same 4 at the end here. All right, so, and what you can actually do is upload your own images into Canva, but I've already uploaded this beautiful picture of Katie here. So I'm just going to drag out the corner, and dragging the corner automatically keeps the proportions. So we want to make Katie nice and big there. We're going to bring this rectangle forward. Just resizing. And then we're going to color it green to match Katie's beautiful scarf. We're going to make another one and resize that a bit smaller. And then color that purple. Okay, great. And so now we're going to add in our text. And like we did in the first one, we're going to be using Cation script. And PT Sans. Oh, sorry, PT Serif. And we'll change that to white and this one to white while we think of it. Okay, so one little thing I like to do to make sure that I'm always using the same fonts and colors and it's very easy is to just hold down the Alt or the Option key and then drag it for all the words you're going to need. And then you can change the color and the size as you need them. So this one is $247. And don't quote me on the price because I just made it up. You'll have to check her website for the real one. And we want that nice and big. And then this is Early Bird Special. And we're going to make that green. And we want that a little bit bigger as well. But because we don't want too much space between these, you can actually change the text spacing so that it doesn't take up a huge amount of room and just keeps everything nice and concise and neat. Here we'll just go add some extra info. And I'm going to make that one smaller because that's just subtle subtext that adds to the information. And you can play around with your bolds and your italics, make it all uppercase, left, center, right, all that stuff that you're probably used to. And then finally the link, and we're going to make this small as well, and that one's going to be pink. Okay, great. And now for our heading, and again we're going to make this a little bit smaller so that it doesn't go off the edges. Now I like to line this up so that I know that I'm in that space and it's not just poking out a tiny little bit. And I'm going to change the line height as well. If you do want to play around with letter spacing, that's something cool that you can also add just a little bit of difference to your Canva artwork. Okay, and now because I want to make this stand out, I'm going to add a box. And so something I'd really like you to play with is actually transparency. And so we've added a box. I'm going to make it white, but then I'm going to change the transparency. So this just makes it sort of like a light purple on this, but if I had it anywhere else, you can see that it's still a white box. And then we're going to send this back. So play around with your layers and send things backwards and forwards. And now we're going to just add in some little extra flair, making some tiny little stars. And again, making sure that everything aligns. So what I do here is I hold down Option. Actually, I'll just make it white first. And so that I know that I'm getting exactly the same size star, I hold down Option and I just drag. And you do have to use your eye a little bit to see whether the gap is equal. And now I'm going to hold Shift and click on each of these stars. Can be a little bit fiddly. This is where you might actually like to zoom in and do this, just to make sure that you've got them all. And then making sure that this is in the center as well. So we've seen that blue line pop up. And then we can also resize it. I'm going to make it line up with that E and then with the D on the other side. Zooming out, we can see that there's a lot of white space at the bottom here. So what I'm going to do, I should have done that while had all those stars selected. I'm going to select all of these items. And again, you can just zoom in and out using these controls over here. Oh no. Sorry. And then make sure that this is aligned in the center as well. So it's aligned in the center of that purple box, but we also want it aligned in the center of the page. And that's perfect. And then we're going to drag this one back down. We might just add some extra spaces. Make sure everything sort of is evenly spaced. And now I'm going to copy this, and so that we don't have this white space over here, I'm then going to crop Katie's pretty face out of the picture, unfortunately. And add this to this side, and then we send it to the very back. Just keep clicking this until it appears in the background, and so then it looks like the picture is just one complete picture. And there you have it. You have your Podwell promo.